friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you're doing great. Today's a beautiful day outside. Rain, overcast, but you know what the weekend has for us? A gorgeous, sunny, sun-filled weekend. Today's Friday, Frugal Friday, and what I want to talk to you about real briefly is about freeze-dried food. Now, I do dehydrate my food. I can use my oven. I've used dehydrators before, but I've been sort of disappointed in them because some of the things that I dehydrate take hours, and some of the things that I want to dehydrate take too long, and then they don't get to the crispy state of what I was hoping for. So I've kind of given up on that, and last year when I dehydrated my onions, I have to do it outside because those of you who have ever dehydrated onions know that your house will smell like onions for a long time. But I mean, I still have some left. But it still took many hours, and my electric bill went crazy. So that leads me to, do we get a freeze dryer? And there's ways that people say they save on that electric bill by freezing their fruit and vegetables before putting those trays into the freeze dryer. I don't know from experience because I don't have one. Would I like one? I keep changing my mind. I'm not sure, and that's why I haven't invested yet. When we don't know whether or not we feel like it will be advantageous for us to utilize, Dave and I choose not to spend the money. And right now, the Harvest Right freeze dryers are on sale right now. And I guess you can get them at the big box stores too, but their site shows that they're on sale, and I was just looking at it before I came on. I'm thinking, ooh, maybe I could talk to them. But it's still out of our price range. But what's really out of our price range? And so we've been going back and forth. So what I did, and I've been doing it for the past couple of years, just to have a few things on the shelf, I would buy a few things of dehydrated items, freeze-dried. And so one of the things that came in this week, and I bought 2 of them because they were on sale, and at first I wasn't sure if I really wanted to buy them because I thought, this is a lot of money for freeze-dried fruit. And then I thought, well, a strawberry is like this, and then when it's freeze-dried, it gets smaller. So it takes up less space, and that's why people are doing freeze-drying, because of a couple of reasons. They don't have to use the freezer and take up freezer space, and it takes up less storage on your shelf. So one of the items I've gotten, and I've had good luck with this company before, is Augustin Farm. I don't know if you can see that well enough or not, but I bought strawberries. I bought 2 cans of this. And I didn't tell my husband how much I spent until afterwards, because I got it like at 44% off the price that they normally sell it for, and I will never, sorry Augustin, but I will not pay full price for it because it doesn't fit in our budget. And I realize that a lot of people might not understand that, but if it doesn't fit in your budget, is it appropriate to purchase? And for us, it just wasn't. So when it came on sale, and I've been wanting strawberries, I didn't get a chance to go picking because of the stuff that we were doing. And then, I mean, we had the blueberries come in, and they're still here, but we're not getting as much as we'd like. We missed our raspberries, except for like a cup or so. Our blackberries are coming in. We're not sure how much we'll get. But putting that aside is, what do? So I got these 2 canisters in hopes to say, okay, how good are these really? Now, a lot of people freeze-dry their own fruits and vegetables. I commend them. And like I said, it's not in our budget right now. Someday, maybe. Would I like one? After we tried these, we were very pleased. Now, one of the complaints a lot of people make is that, well, that's a big canister, and it doesn't even fit. It fills it about half full. I'll be honest with you. It fills it about half full. But what a lot of people don't understand is they use one size canister to put all their freeze-dried items in. And then what happens is they're settling and everything else. So it's bound to be lower than what people would expect. People want it to be full. Well, if you want it to be full, then get your freeze dryer and do it yourself. I guess that's pretty blunt, but that's the way I am. You don't like it? Fix it, do it yourself. And that's the way I am. If I don't like something, I look at other options of what can I do to amend that? What can I do to save? Like, I wasn't going to pay full price because it didn't fit into our grocery budget. But I bought these, and even at 44% off, it was still a little bit too much. So anyways, I got them for David, and I got them for myself. I don't know who I got them for most. But what happens is, what was in this canister fits a half-gallon mason jar. So I'm okay with that. These taste fabulous. They really do. Now, how does this come into Frugal Friday? I tried to justify, do I go and purchase strawberries at the grocery store? Or do I go up to the farm stand, which I have not yet had the chance to go up there due to how busy we've been since we've been home. So I'm like, I don't know. And then what am I going to do with them? Because I'm going to have to put them all in the freezer. And then when I need them to make jams or jellies or so, then I'm going to have to take them out. It's just a lot of work that I really enjoy doing. I would much rather have my jams and jellies that I make versus store-bought, because I know how much sugar goes in. And I'm going to go into making jams and jellies at another point. But most often I save money there because I don't use nearly the amount of sugar that they require. And the reason is, the fruits that I make jams and jellies with have a lot of sweetness to them. And when I make jams with blackberries, I actually combined it with raspberries and strawberries, so you get all that sweetness from these two fruit. And it makes amazing. I call it my tri-berry. Those of you who know me and have tasted it know that it's pretty darn delicious. So that being said, so I got this, and then after I emptied the canister, you end up, and this is going to happen whether you freeze dry your items or not, or if you dehydrate with a dehydrator, you're going to end up with residue at the bottom of your canister. And so I was looking at that, and I'm thinking, I'm not mad at the organization. I was thinking, and it smells good, by the way. I was thinking, what can I use that with? Sure, I could make some ruby lipstick, but I don't usually wear lipstick. But you can use that if you make your own cosmetics a little bit, but I think there's others out there that you could use as well. But I wasn't even thinking that. I can take a teaspoon of that and throw it into a smoothie to get that strawberry flavor. What I did first, because I wanted to see how will this taste, I actually took that powder. I took like a teaspoon of it, because I eat about, maybe every now and then I'll have like a quarter cup or a half cup of plain Greek yogurt, and I'll sometimes put fresh fruit in. Well, I took a teaspoon of this powder, just a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, a teaspoon, and oh my, it made it taste great. Plain Greek yogurt, most people don't like. I use it when I bake sometimes, but generally I use it once in a while in a smoothie, or when I just want a little bit of yogurt. And I put that in, and it's far better than the fresh fruit. So what I'm saying is, one of the frugal things that you can do when you have to, whether you make your own freeze-dried items or whether you purchase it, don't get rid of the powder, because that's really good stuff. That is still the fruit that got dehydrated. It just got all dried up. And if you talk to people who freeze-dry their own fruit and vegetables, they actually powder it up. Now, I dehydrate kale, spinach, and a lot of my greens, and I put them in like a blend. I have them in another jar of, I'll have them separate, and sometimes I put them together to have a green blend. And all of these items can be put into a stir fry just to give it a little bit more nutrition. And sometimes if I'm making something else, I can just top it off that way. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Now, will I get a freeze dryer after this experience? Because my husband loves these. He adores these. And I'm like, oh no. And truly, we can't get these all the time. It's just not in our budget to have a bunch of these. And even though these are supposed to last up to, what, 25 years or so, there's only 18 servings in them. And I don't think it'll last that long. First of all, my husband and I next weekend I will be 63. So you add 25 years to that. Would that be 80? Oh my, 88. Well, I might still be around. Is that right? Yeah. So even though I still might be around, I don't think they're going to last that long because that's how good these are. So I do recommend this brand. There are other brands out there too, which I'm looking at. I'm comparing prices, and how I decide whether or not I'm going to buy two more the next time when there's a sale is I check the flavor and I buy one. Because it's important to know that you're going to like the product that you're going to put on your shelf. Now, yeah, these are supposed to be shelf stable. They're supposed to be there to preserve. But also, you know what? When you put food on your shelf, you want to make sure that you like it before you do it. So I can all my jams and jellies. I like them, so I'm not worried about that. I take out what I need, whether it's for sandwiches for David or toast or whatever he wants it on. Sometimes we might put the jams on pancakes or whatever. So I know what I like there. I know I liked my canned vegetables and stuff. But now we're trying to decide, do we get a freeze dryer? It's a tough decision. I've been looking at them for a couple of years, and I know some people are die-hard dehydrators, and I have been for a long time until my dehydrator I bought maybe a couple of years ago, and it worked okay, but I wasn't pleased with it, where I just kind of threw the body out, kept the racks because I'm going to use those to be doing some hanging, and I'll share that at a future video. So we are still going through the discussion of, should I order one? Is it really advantageous for my husband and I to take up space in our home to run a piece of equipment that runs for hours? And some people say, depending on the moisture content of your fruit or vegetables, it can take up to a day and a half. And me, I'm looking at ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk in terms of thinking about dollar signs for the electric bill. We don't have solar here. And those who have solar, it probably works great for. Now I can still dehydrate things out in the sun, out in my greenhouse with my hanging dehydrator, but strawberries will not dehydrate the same that I can find. Now I have dehydrated in my oven. They don't come out as good as these. So I'm kind of being drawn towards this piece of equipment, and right now they're on sale. I could certainly swoon my husband into, let's do this, but I'm not going to do that unless he is on board with it as well. And that's what my husband and I do. We have a few dollars that, you know, we both have a dollar amount each month that, even though we tell each other how much we're spending on stuff, and it could be $10, it could be $2, that, you know, I gotta go get a gallon of milk, he'll tell me. I don't care. Just but what it is, it keeps us both accountable that we're not spending more that would put us into debt. And so to buy a freeze dryer at this juncture might not be right. So we're going to be looking at that. I mean, this is the first full week that we've had that we've been home with no other distractions for like the estate. So now we're trying to get our own home back in order because we had brought stuff in. But this is something that I purchased to have on the shelf in the event the groceries get too busy. And we only buy a little bit at a time because honestly I can't buy in bulk like that. But we always try something, and yeah, we're in trouble. We like these. But I did ask him, because he was asking me about what else they do. They do raspberries and pineapples and bananas. And so I went on, he goes, can you get those? And I went on, I said, they're really expensive right now because they're not on sale. Now, one thing that you can do when you're buying, and they only sell these through Amazon. So I just keep an eye out for these. And maybe they sell them elsewhere. I can't go to their website and order them. But that's what I generally do. If I find a product that I really like, I will go to their website and see if they sell direct to customer. And that has been advantageous for me because I know it's coming directly from the company and they don't have to pay additional fees to Amazon. But you know, Amazon is convenient. We're just trying to cut back in some areas. But this is something that I get, and I'm just rambling and rambling. So what I'm trying to get to in terms of Frugal Friday. First, try, if If you can't do a freeze dryer yourself, I understand. And maybe you're in an apartment, there's no room. Our house does not have a lot of room. So I also am trying to think, where am I going to put this? In my bedroom? No, thank you. But you have to think about where you're going to go, because it's not just the box from what I've seen of other people. There's other parts of the setup. Plus, I want to read some more reviews. I hear great things from people who are able to promote it. But on the other hand, other people have complained about how it works and stuff. So I want to check into more and contact the company if this is something we decide that let's do this. So that's the one thing, is make sure what you're purchasing isn't because everybody else in the world is doing it. Folks, not everybody is buying a freeze dryer. Not everybody. And so make sure that it fits into your budget. Do I think it's a good investment? Yes, if you're going to use it. No, if you're not. Maybe if you're not going to use it much, because I know some people, they sell their freeze-dried items. So that's an investment. That's a smart investment for them, and they might have multiple ones. But for me, I'll be doing it just for David and I. But maybe you can go in with somebody else and you both share. If you're in the same neighborhood and you both go in on the cost, you can share. That's a frugal way of using something. Make sure that relationship is a real solid one, because little feuds have been going on in this world that it only takes one thing to get somebody agitated. So make sure it's a good friend or family or whatever, so that everybody is sharing and it works, and you have a schedule and stuff like that of who's going to use it when. The other thing is, I tend to like to put it in a jar. And right now it's on top of the refrigerator because it's not going to last long. This is the second can. I'll be honest, it's the second can. But I told my husband he can't go into this. We still have a few left from the first can. But the other thing that you can do from these cans is, once they're empty, it's a nice solid can. You can take the label off and clean out the inside, and then you can use it to store items. So say you get beans at the store because you want to have a few other staples on your shelf. Reuse this can. Get those bags and put them in here. Okay, they're not Mylar bags, but you know what? Well, the mice might get through the plastic covering, but anything you do to prevent and make them work harder is going to prevent them from going in. You might have some dry milk you want to put in here that comes in a bag. Those of you who might have dry potatoes, those kind of things. So if you're one who is preserving or saving to have stuff on hand, that's not a bad idea. Now, do I keep dry goods on hand? I do. And I always have. The reason is because horrible winter storms might come in. I'm not going out shopping. And then I hear of everybody's out shopping on those storm days. I sit back and I crochet or I do something else, because I pre-planned my shelves, my pantry, so that I don't have to go out when there's an emergency like that. So keep that in mind. So that's what I'm saying, is you can use these cans to put some of those small bags of stuff in here. So that's what I wanted to share. It's short, sweet, maybe it wasn't, but what I wanted to share is, before you go and get the freeze dryer, make sure it's something that you're going to use. If you think that you can dehydrate it, try it a few times first. I did not have great luck with the strawberries, the blueberries, the raspberries. I just didn't have good luck, even the blackberries. And I was discouraged because I felt like I wasted God's gift. So I don't want to do that. So I would rather either purchase them directly or put my berries in the freezer and make what I need to out of that. What do I use my berries with? I use them in fruit smoothies. I use them in yogurt. I use them in oatmeal. I use them in baking different things. So they are used a lot. And you know, you can use berries for a lot of things, and there's a lot of nutrition in it. One thing I do want to say, and the nice thing about these freeze-dried, there's no sugar in it. You can look at the package, and the ingredients is strawberries. Nothing else, nothing more. And that's what I was looking for. And there's sweetness. So when I bake and I don't want to add a lot of sugars, I can add something like this. That powder can be a substitute sugar. So, and you can take that, put a little bit of water in it, just like you can with this if you want to rehydrate them to use as strawberries on a cold dessert. Say you enjoy ice cream, but you want strawberries on it and there's no fresh strawberries in sight. Just take a little bit, rehydrate them with some water for about 10-15 minutes, and then you have your strawberries that you can put on your cold dessert or maybe hot biscuits or whatever it is that you put strawberries on. And then you can have it all year round. So be wise and know that I won't judge it if you go and buy it already done. But what it did for us, and I think my husband's now starting to think, well, maybe a freeze dryer would be a good thing. We're not going to go and buy one today because it doesn't fit in our budget. But what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about it probably to determine when can we fit this into our budget and we can plan for it. Because the one that I want will be the larger one, and it, I think right now is like a little over $3,000. And I think it can get up higher, and if you want a certain thing, depending on what you want, it can get kind of pricey. So my recommendation is be sure before you spend that kind of money, it's what you want. The same thing with a dehydrator. Make sure it's what you want. Make sure you like dehydrated food. I dehydrate all my herbs, and the dehydrator I had worked great for that. But you know what? I bring them in and I hang them. I hang them for 3 to 5 days, and once they're dry, I take them and put them in jars. I also dehydrate items in my oven. My spinach, my kale, and a few things like that, I do dehydrate in my oven. The things that I use the dehydrator for were like celery and stuff like that. And so I don't know if I'm going to get another dehydrator which is less costly. And there's a brand out there that I've been really researching and checking and so forth. And this is how we shop. This is what I'm trying to say when you're trying to be resourceful with your money. It doesn't mean you don't have to have nice things. It means to do your due diligence in trying to make sure that you have the resources, that all your other bills are paid, and then go ahead and purchase. Because what Dave and I don't do is we don't buy something if we have debt. And we like to pay our bills. If we put something on a credit card, we want to pay that off. We earn money off our credit card, but we don't want to have a credit card that is going up and up and up, because if you don't pay the full amount, that interest is money that you lost. It's a waste. And then if you got something on sale, you lost it. So we're actually trying to save the money, putting the money aside, so for different things. And so that might be one that I may talk him into. I don't know if I want to spend the money though, and that's what's really hard. But I just wanted to say, don't be ashamed if you have a freeze dryer. If it's working for you, that's fabulous, because you take up less space to use that. If you use a dehydrator or dehydrate some foods with a wood stove or with your oven, those are great, efficient ways as well. They just dry differently. I can't dry my strawberries that way. Other things is that if you can't do something, don't feel like you have to be like everybody else. Take your time. And if you have a close friend who has a freeze dryer, and say you've been trying to save up to get one, ask to sample something of theirs. I'm sure that they might let you, unless everything is already stocked or they don't have any. But you can ask, and you might find that it's not a bad idea. So I'm not promoting any freeze dryer. I'm not promoting any particular dehydrator, because I'm still looking into getting a different one because I wasn't happy with the last one I had. I do promote doing it naturally by hanging like your herbs. I do promote using your oven at the lowest setting, and if it can't get down to 140 or less, keep the door ajar, and even still keep your door ajar. And you can do it with, like, put a wooden spoon or something in the door so it doesn't close all the way. Or you can hang it. In my apothecary room, that's what I do. I have a lot of my herbs hanging. So I hope that was helpful. I think I rambled a little bit, and that I apologize for. But I hope that was helpful, and I hope you enjoy dehydrated food, because you know what? The cool thing about these, they're like chips, flavored chips, and I don't buy chips for my husband. And the reason I don't buy chips, first of all, I make them from zucchini, and I think a freeze dryer would really come in handy then. But I gave him some of these for lunch, and he said he started eating them on his way to work. He has an hour drive. He said they were gone half an hour before he got to work. I said, honey, you were supposed to save them for dinner. No, they didn't last that long. So we have to put them out of sight, out of mind, so we don't consume them. The other thing is, I did mention that at the end of using one of these, you might end up with a lot or a little bit of powder. Say you want some powder and you don't have any left from the can or from your own making, you can put these through a coffee grinder, and then you can have a powder like sprinkle on top of something. Like, say you make a coffee cake with I don't put frosting on, but you could put a little bit of this on top of your coffee cake, and it would give it a nice sweet taste, but inside maybe have real strawberries. Folks, I'm going to stop chatting, but I'm going to ask, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you have any comments, I would love to hear from you. But more importantly, I pray that God blesses your day. Have a great one, folks. Enjoy your weekend.